The Poland has beautiful girls. That was the one of the things I chose. The Poland, yeah, Polish girls are beautiful. And about the living, the Poland is cold, so cold. Once I remember I was running in the street because it was so cold to university. I was running to university. Yeah, there are like pros and cons of living in Poland, but generally it's good. I think it's nice. That's like European country, and yeah, there are many forests here. Like that, I was surprised. I think every people has a dog. Like that was I didn't know it before. That was the surprise for me.
Oh, generally I say that it's nice country. There are mountains, there is sea, and generally people are nice, really polite, by the way, really polite.
Żurek. Yeah, that's the best soup I've ever tried. Well, maybe after borscht, or how you say, barscht?
Barscht.
Yeah. What else? I mean, probably Polish girls.
Language barriers. They always ask me if I speak Polish, and if I don't, how can I manage to live here? So the first thing that comes to my mind is that why I don't speak Polish after 3 years living here.
The first thing that comes to my mind, it's cold, like cold weather, tall people, blonde people, really religious people as well.
To be honest, and I know a lot of people don't believe me when I say this, but the first thing that it popped to my mind, it was Marie Curie. So the woman who discovered radiation and then later died from cancer by exposure of the radiation. Every time I tell to my Polish friends, because they all also ask me this question, they're like, "Oh, you probably think there was nothing and just like war things and things," and I was like, "No, I didn't know about that you have such history with war or anything like this. I just knew about her and Chopin and these famous people."
So you learned that while being here, right?
Yeah, I learned the history and the war and all this stuff when I was already living here.
Living in Poland as a foreigner, it's not always easy, especially at the beginning. I can tell you that when I came to Poland first, I recognized that people are looking at me. And I was like, what's wrong with me? Why people are looking at me? They were sometimes staring, and I remember calling my mom and telling her, like, people look at me here, probably something is wrong about me. And she was like, blend in, try to blend in society. And I'm like, Mom, how I can blend in? Everybody looks blonde and they have a white complexion. And I was worried why people are looking at me. And after some time, I recognized that they are actually looking at me in a good way. They are not looking at me because I'm different, or they see me ugly, or is a bad thing because I am somebody they don't know. I'm somebody from another country. But I understood that they actually appreciate my look, and that's why they look at me. So at the beginning, it can be very difficult to get used to here. It includes culture, it includes food, and it includes general Polish people's attitudes, what they call as Polish mentality. But in time, you get used to it and you learn how to live with that. And for me now, I really like it and I enjoy it.
So when I first came in Poland, it was September 2017. I was shocked because it was really like a dream. That's what I imagined when people were saying Europe, the old-fashioned buildings, the people, they look progressive, the trams, the transportation system in general. I was really shocked, but then I got used to it, and now I tell my friends that Poland is just like Ukraine, but it's more rich, is more conservative, and I guess that's it.
How is Poland in comparison to your native country? How would you compare Poland to Kazakhstan?
Small. Well, I mean...
Nie słyszałeś to?
Nie skupiłem.
Jak porównasz Polskę do Kazachstanu? Small. Koniec wypowiedzi. Dobra, możemy lecieć dalej, to jest dobre.
I would say that generally Ukraine and Poland a little bit similar. I am saying about culture and traditions and of course about nature. However, there is a quite big difference for me. For example, it's cuisine. I love Ukrainian food, and if you say about Polish food, I mean, of course, there are some good dishes. However, like I was a little bit confused when I came here and I started to try different Polish dishes. I was a little bit confused about this sour cabbage. You use it like everywhere, not only bigos, but for example, uszka also, like you put this sour cabbage there, and like I was really confused that you use a lot of this stuff, and honestly, I am not a big fan of it. So for me, this is the big difference between Ukraine and Poland, like cuisine.
There are like many subjects I can compare. For example, I studied 3 years, so in education, in Poland, the lessons are more practical, but in Azerbaijan, as I know from like 3 years ago, it was like learning something by heart. That was like cons of the Azerbaijan, and the meals are in Poland for me awful. Sorry for telling that, but like Azerbaijan has like different taste, and here like. For example, I don't like the smell of the meat, for example. That's the cons for me. Polish people are using the bikes a lot. They are driving the bike. So in Azerbaijan, it's not so popular. Kissing in the streets is not usual in Azerbaijan. You shouldn't do that. There are some people, there are some parks that you can go to there, but in general, for example, in underground, in metro, you shouldn't do that. People will be angry at you, especially the older people, and I think most probably they will tell you, what the hell are you doing here? Go to your home, do that. That's like how it works here. But I don't know, I never used in Poland the metro, but in the streets also the Azerbaijan people don't like that. They are telling go to your home and do that.
Very, very different countries, the culture itself. I've met Polish people and they have always have this willingness to help me. And it's the same in Peru. Like if you see a foreigner, you will give the best to him. Like you will give the best food, best hotels, best rooms. Sometimes they can treat foreigners better than citizens from Peru. So
I would say it's very different, but at the same time very similar. Peru and Poland, they are similar when it comes to religion. Peru is also a really religious country. The main religion there, it's Catholicism. Yeah, and in Poland, I think it's the same. So in that part, they are very the same. But they're also very different because, Poland, it's Europe, and European culture is very different from the Latino one, so yeah.
Okay, so Poland is very quiet, very calm, very organized. For me at the beginning was a little bit of a shock because after I moved from Colombia, I moved to United States, to the state of California. So people there were also very warm and very welcoming. So when you are in the streets, they are like, hey, hello, or you're in the grocery shop and you just run into somebody and they're like, hey, have a good one, have a good day, and you're like, okay, these are strangers and they are nice. But here in Poland, people don't talk to each other in public, so it was like a bit of a shock for me. They don't talk in public, but if you do and you're loud, or maybe you're having like a good conversation with your friend and touching and hugging and all those stuff, they will look at you like. So for me it was like a shock. But then when I started making like Polish friends, I realized that people, maybe they are like cold in the outside, in the public, but they're like very warm once you get to know them, and then they treat you like your family when you're at home and all those things.
So basically it's the same, but richer. More conservative, so people are more focused on religion rather than their life, I would say, their everyday life. I think there are a lot of similarities and not a lot of differences between our countries, I would say, in general.
Poland and Turkey, they are very similar and very different countries indeed, because as I mentioned before, we have particular problems in Turkey, and in Poland I can see the similarities about the problems. For example, we have this Istanbul Convention discussion in Turkey now, and it's a very hot topic for us because it's a convention to prevent and combat violence against women. And it also includes any type of violence, stalking, or sexual abuse, physical, psychological. So mainly it's a really good thing to protect women's rights. And I know that Poland is about to withdraw from this convention, and in my country there are really serious issues to implement this. And I can see the similarities when it comes to women's life and women's rights. There are very similar speeches. Like in Turkey, for example, about abortion, about body shaming even, and femicide. There are a lot of things I can see the similarities. And I'm really surprised because we are standing on the opposite sides. So when we think about Turkey, we know that it's a Muslim country. I mean, not everybody is Muslim. It is not politically Muslim officially because it's a secular country. And I can see here that there are Catholic people, and we know that these two religions are different religions, but when I listen to their speech, they are quite similar. So I can say that our problems are really similar to each other.
So do you think perhaps it's about conservatism?
Yes, it's general. We are both conservative and we are actually standing on the same side but with different ground. Our opinions are grounded in different way, but we are still saying the similar things. And this is the actually problem. I would love it to change.